Some big occasion today, PK. Must be pleased for boys to get a result on a day like today down the 2 hours.
Yeah, I just said to them, just really admire the way they played that game out. You know, 3 games in 11 days is tough. And, you know, the 2 games leading into this one in really slippery conditions, which takes more of a toll on the body. You know, the Tigers sort of had the bye the week before, and so looking at that in the fixture, I was really worried about this game right from before the season. We said to the guys on Monday night, like, be prepared that this won't be a pretty game. This is going to be a grind. You know, we knew that they'd be tired mentally as well as physically, and that showed. Like the second quarter, our mental application just wasn't good enough. You know, we knew what the Tigers are good at, and when they get it going, they're very good at it. You know, they're a skillful young team, and you know, the first, third and fourth quarter we did an excellent job of shutting down that game, and we really played the game in our territory as a result. In the second quarter we just weren't switched on. We allowed them to cut us apart with their ball movement. They got deep entries, you know, and we spend the quarter trying to fish the ball deep out of our defensive 50, and then our work rate to do that wasn't good enough. You know, we have systems in place to do it, and we just weren't working. And you know, there was a few choice words at half time to some players who just didn't have the work rate. We said you've got to work through the mental tiredness and push the body, and probably in the second half we didn't make the most of the opportunities we created, but we really controlled that game. And I was just so proud, like Braden Webb, you know, who's stepped into the midfield in that second half when we needed him and just gave us great drive. Ben Camrick, his work rate was really good. You know, Zach Webster's pressure was really good, and Daniel Joseph and Jay Bowden both played a really important role for us, which allowed us to close them down. And you know, it won't show on the stat sheet, probably won't show on the video, but the discipline those two had to carry out that role was really key, and it's great to have a couple of veterans like that who can do it for us.
You just mentioned that you knew it was going to be a grind and you knew what the Tigers were going to bring. In that sense, did the Tigers deliver you exactly the game you were expecting in that sense?
Yeah, I mean, they did, and in the second quarter they were very good, and I said the other week they'll be an improver this season. You know, as they get more used to Trent's game plan, and they also add some more strings to their bow, they'll get better. And but you can see in the game, like the second quarter last week against Lauderdale, they were really good. Today as well, yeah, we identified 4 weapons in terms of the way they played the game, and in the third quarter we let them get 3 of them going. Sorry, in the second quarter we let them get 3 of them going, and against any team, that's just going to make it hard work. But again, you know, really pleased that in the situation of, you know, an ANZAC Day game and a big occasion and through fatigue, the guys embodied that spirit of working together and driving themselves, and you know, they should be really proud of their efforts today.
Obviously you guys have had 3 pretty big wins in your opening 3 fixtures. Is it good to have a game that's more of a grind like this, just to get the boys used to, I guess, the sort of footy you'll be playing at the end of the year?
Not good for my blood pressure in the box, but yeah, it is good, and it was good for us as a coaching group. Like today, you know, for a number of factors, we had to change things around a lot, and it's good for us to be able to go back and review that. It's good for the players to have experienced some of those changes, because first 3 games we haven't had to change a lot. You know, we've made some subtle changes, but it's stuff the players have been comfortable with. So, you know, I've said all along, this is a really adaptable group, and they did an excellent job of that today. And yeah, just so happy with the way that they were able to recover from a bad second quarter, and just play that team defence in the second half that really halved the key stats we're taking for Kingborough today. We basically, from the second quarter, we halved them in the second half, and I can't complain about that. That's really good.
Yeah, obviously, you mentioned before, a lot of football in a short period of time. Apart from just a lot of sore bodies, are there any injury concerns out of this little period for you guys?
Not at this stage. You know, touch wood. You always wait. There's some really sore bodies at the end of today's game, and you know, we've got recovery tomorrow, and then we're giving them 5 days off, just to refresh the mind, refresh the body, and then we go into a really difficult stretch. You know, Clarence and Launceston up at the House of Windsor, so that's going to test us out again. But yeah, I said to the guys, congrats on a good start. You know, they worked their tails off in pre-season, and then really launched into the season in great style, got through a danger game today, and now we reset and we go again for the next little patch of games.
Jai Beerman a couple of weeks ago really impressed in his first game, such a young player. 3 really fantastic goals today. You must be pleased with the way he's kind of taking the chance that's come up for him.
Yeah, some people have it when it comes to playing footy. It's a game that relies a bit on instinct, and he just has those natural instincts. And you just see it out there. The stuff he does is all class. It's nice. You have those moments in the coach's box with players like Braden Webb and Jay Bowden and Daniel Joseph and Zach Webster, where you take a moment to step back and go, geez, these are good players. And Jai has a couple of those moments. Jai's still got a lot of work to do though, and he's 15, so that's allowable, But hopefully as the course of this year goes on, he'll pick up those other areas of the game, understand how the other team wants to play and how we need him to defend that. Get the anticipation is a really big thing for him, because when he gets to open space or gets to a contest, good things happen. So I'm really glad I've got the chance to coach Jai, and hopefully over the course of the year we can really develop him and help him move forward to become a real TSL star, and after that we'll see where he goes.
You say that Tigers really got on top of you in that second quarter, but even then they still didn't really manage to hit the scoreboard. Were you happy with how your defensive structures held up, even when sort of things weren't going your way?
Look, I wasn't happy with the defensive structures. There were too many breakdowns in the actual setups and structures. What I was really happy with is our ability to cover for each other. And part of that, again, does go back to the setup. You talk about covering for a failure or 2 failures. You can, if the setups are okay, you can cover it. And just the work rate of people like Harrison Gunther, Jack Stevenson, Josh Arnold, our whole backs crew. The Joseph brothers back there today were good, and Connor Salter as well. They worked hard to sort of plug the leaky boat. Some of our midfielders worked hard as well, but overall in that second quarter our mental application and our work rate wasn't good enough, but there were some really good individual efforts to help plug the boat.
Right, so not the result you wanted at the end of the day, Trent. You must be really happy, or not happy, but proud of the way the boys performed today. It was a really competitive effort.
Yeah, I thought our effort was first class, but unfortunately at the end of the day, effort doesn't get you 4 points. So, we came here to win. We thought we had a pretty good plan in place to win, as we did last week against Lauderdale, I think. But our effort was outstanding. Our tackle numbers, our forward 50 pressure, our work around stoppage was really good. Guys like Ryan Matthews, Will Campbell, Lockie Clifford again, Lockie Watt as well. Just thought, our effort was really good. It was probably just a little bit of polish. Probably our entries in the forward 50, we probably got right about 50% of the time. Probably that against a good team like Glenorchy, 50% of the time is not going to be good enough to get the end result.
20 points down at quarter time and were able to really get back into the contest in the second term. What do you think was the difference from the first term leading into the second term that got you guys right back in the contest?
I think probably in the second quarter, Mitch Carter came into the game a lot more. We were able to use him on defensive 50 exits, because everyone knows Mitch is a great kick of the footy and you want the ball in his hands. I think we got the tempo right, and we chose when to go fast and when to go slow at the right times in that second quarter, which was really pleasing. I think we showed that our method stacks up well against good teams. So not so much that we went away from it in the second half or anything. I thought we were consistent with our game style and everything over the course of the 4 quarters. But I think that we got our defensive mechanisms right behind the footy, which was able to help launch our attacks, which was able to get us some good scores and narrow that 20-point gap in the second quarter.
On your defence, the back six held up really well today, especially there when the ball came in early. You guys did a really good job of containing them. What did you think of your defensive performance today? Yeah,
I thought it was really good. I think we got our matchups right. Probably we got hurt in the second half with Nick Hutchinson not being able to return to the field in the second half, but I thought Mitch Carter's a one of the best. Everyone knows he's a great kicker of the footy, but also his reading the play and his intercept marking is a really strong part of his game. I think that's also a big part of Tyler Carter's game as well, down back. And then, you know, our guys like Jake Doran was fantastic. I think he won his match up today. And, you know, Ash Humphrey came down there and played a role for us. So we've got some stronger bodies down there, which you need against Glenorchy, because you know, they've got some experienced bodies down forward. Obviously, when Jay goes down there, that gives them that little element of class. And I also thought Brady Reeves did a great job on Cal Daly, who's been a real dangerous small forward across the first, you know, month of the season. I think, you know, he negated him somewhat as well. You know, he's been popping up, kicking 2-3 goals a week most weeks. So I think we got our matchups right. I think we did a good job. We were able to shut them down and get the ball onto the ground. But yeah, it was that, you know, we talk about that little offensive things that probably came back to haunt us towards the end of the game.
Entering your own forward 50, it looked like you guys probably didn't have as much success entering as you would have liked. What sort of things can you do to improve that? Is it a structural thing, or did you just come up against a great defensive side?
A little bit of both. I think it's a little bit of what I talked about, our polish. Like, our effort was there today, but our polish is lowering our eyes and hitting that short one, especially, you know, when our forwards have lengthened out the ground and hit back up. But I actually thought that young Hugh Johnson and Heath Thompson really gave us that taller target when they both rested forward. You know, Huey Johnson's come from old scholars footy, and it's his third game of senior TSL footy, and he was definitely amongst our best six today. His ruck work around the ground, but his ability to go forward and take a catch as well, and Heath as well. He's getting better every week. You know, his conditioning's improving, but, you know, his body work and his ability to go forward. So, you know, we'll look to mix it up and do that a little bit more. Obviously, probably the smalls isn't sustainable all the time. You've got to get that longer target in there, and I think those guys gave us a good option. And I think Tyler Carter, when he went forward in the fourth quarter as well, was able to take a couple of marks, but if he wasn't, he was able to bring the ball to ground as well.
Finney Hutchinson, what's the diagnosis?
Yeah, I think he's all good. He just was having a little bit of issue with his breathing, and so he's been crook for a little while, or for the last week. So I think it just might have been a bit of that catching up with him. So his heart rate was elevated a bit, and just some trouble breathing. So, you know, he was calmed down by the fourth quarter. But with stuff like that, you know, you're very reticent. You don't want to risk that, you know, because for long-term damage or anything like that. We didn't want anything to happen to him, so we just had to err on the side of caution with him. So he'll be fine for our next game, 10 days' time. So, you know, we've got a fair break now before we head up to Lonnie.
So a quick turnaround from Friday night to tonight, then obviously 10-day break before the next game. What's the process now heading into that game? A few days off?
We'll come back in tomorrow night and get our review done for this, so we'll put this to bed really quickly. Then we'll give the guys the weekend off just to have a break. You know, like I said, we've asked a lot of them over the last week. You know, they've been here nearly every night. We've been reviewing, preparing, and just ticking our legs over. So we'll give them the weekend off to get away, you know, freshen their mind up, and then we'll come straight back in next Monday, get to work ready for, you know, what will be a massive challenge up at Windsor Park against one of the other form teams. We seem to be running into the form teams every week, but it's good. We want those challenges, and you can see that we're almost there. You know, we're narrowing that gap, but you know, we don't want to be happy with those honourable losses and competing. We actually want to take a scalp. So, you know, hopefully, you know, Lonnie's the one.